We're often taught that history is just this dry timeline of empires rising and falling. But if you look a little closer, you start to see a pattern. It's not just a random collection of dates and names. It's a story of these incredible decisive moments, powerful leaps that literally changed everything. So let me ask you this. Is it all just random? Is it just a chaotic mess of who had the biggest army or the most land at any given time? Or is there something else going on? Some kind of underlying force that consistently separates the winners from the losers? You've heard the saying, right? History is written by the winners. And yeah, that's absolutely true. But what we're going to dig into today is how they win. Because it's not just luck. Almost every single time, it comes down to a decisive leap, a revolutionary jump in technology, in strategy, or even just in thinking that gives one group a totally unstoppable edge. All right, so here's our roadmap. We're going to start by defining what this winning leap actually is. And we'll begin with the very first one, fire. Then we'll see how mobility, the horse, became power. How sometimes strategy beats raw strength. We'll look at how gunpowder just made ancient defenses totally useless. Then we'll get into the rise of these massive integrated systems. And finally, we'll talk about the decisive leap that's happening right now, all around us. So let's rewind. Way back. Tens of thousands of years ago, when human tribes were scattered and just trying to survive day to day. This is where it all begins. This is where the very first technological power imbalance was born. So let's get this definition straight in our heads. A decisive leap isn't just a small improvement. No, it's a fundamental game changer. It completely rewrites the rules of survival and power, creating this really clear divide between those who have this new advantage and, well, everyone else. This is the golden thread we're going to follow all the way through history. And fire. Fire was the first leap. And it wasn't just about staying warm, not by a long shot. It was a total revolution. Suddenly, you've got cooked food, which means better nutrition and bigger brains. You've got protection from the scariest predators out there. And eventually, fire itself becomes a weapon. The tribe that mastered fire didn't just survive, they dominated. Okay, let's jump forward thousands of years. The next huge leap wasn't a tool you could hold in your hand. It was a whole new way to move. The moment humans domesticated the horse, the scale of power and even the idea of distance were changed forever. And nobody illustrates this better than Genghis Khan. See, he didn't just put guys on horses. He turned mobility into a terrifyingly efficient system. Just picture this. Archers on horseback who could fire with deadly accuracy at a full gallop. A communication network of relay stations that was basically an ancient internet, sending messages at incredible speeds. And they used psychological warfare to absolutely crush an enemy's will to fight. It was this system that created the largest land empire the world has ever seen. But here's the thing. The biggest leaps aren't always about new tech. Sometimes, the most powerful advantage is just a new way of thinking. It's a strategic leap that can let a smaller, smarter force completely outwit a giant. Look at Alexander the Great going up against the Persian Empire. The Persians were a juggernaut, massive, powerful, heavily armored. They were all about brute force. But Alexander did something totally different. He made his army lighter, faster, more nimble. He swapped out brute force for strategic agility, which made him so unpredictable that he could run circles around a much, much larger enemy. And then you get a guy like Julius Caesar. His leap wasn't really about new weapons or battlefield tactics. His genius was organizational. He built this unshakable loyalty in his soldiers. He was an absolute master of logistics, getting supplies where they needed to be. And maybe most importantly, he understood the politics of perception. He controlled the story, the narrative that was being told back in Rome, building his own personal brand until he wasn't just a general anymore. He was the state. For thousands of years, if you wanted to be safe, you built a big wall. Simple, right? Fortresses, castles, these were the ultimate symbols of security and power. But the next decisive leap was about to make those symbols of strength completely, utterly obsolete, practically overnight. 1453. I want you to remember that year. It's one of the most critical turning points in world history. It marks the exact moment the entire medieval world of castles and knights and fortresses just came to a crushing halt. Why? Because that was the year the Ottomans showed up at the walls of the great city of Constantinople. And they brought something new with them, massive cannons. With gunpowder, they just shattered the unbreachable walls and brought a thousand-year-old empire to its knees. From that day forward, the whole equation of power shifted. It didn't belong to the people hiding behind stone anymore. It belonged to those who could project force over huge distances. So, as we get closer to modern times, these decisive leaps, they get way more complex. They're not just a single tool or a clever strategy anymore. Now we're talking about entire integrated systems, economic, military, and scientific, all working together to create dominance on a truly global scale. And you can see this incredible progression. In the 18th century, Britain's Royal Navy didn't just win battles, it controlled global trade. It made power a planetary concept. Then, in the 19th century, Germany weaponized knowledge itself, creating this powerful ecosystem between its universities and industries. And by the 20th century, America took it to the next level by integrating everything. See, America's true genius wasn't just inventing one big thing like the atomic bomb. It was building an entire ecosystem where universities, corporations, and the military all fueled each other in this constant churning cycle of innovation. This total integration of hard power, soft power, and economic might didn't just win a war. It shaped the entire second half of the century. And that brings us right here, to now. We are standing on the absolute brink of the next great leap. And it's one that kind of combines the power of all the previous ones. Artificial intelligence. So what makes AI so different, so uniquely powerful? It's this dual nature. On one hand, it's soft power, the ability to shape what billions of people see, what they believe, and what they think, all through algorithms. But it's also hard power. We're talking autonomous weapons, cyber warfare, and making decisions at a speed that no human could ever match. It's a weapon for the mind and the battlefield, all at once. And this really gets to the core of it all. The stakes have never, ever been higher. In this new era, falling behind doesn't just mean you're a little less competitive. It means you risk becoming a digital colony, completely dependent on other nations for your information, your economy, and maybe even your security. So, when you step back, you see the pattern, don't you? It's this relentless ladder of escalation. Fire gave us the edge to survive. Horses gave us the speed to conquer. Cannons broke the walls, and ships made the world smaller. Science industrialized power itself. And now, AI. AI is threatening to rewrite the very rules of reality. Each leap didn't just change the game, it created a whole new one with much higher stakes than ever before. History has always been written by those who master the decisive leap. The question for us now isn't just about the technology itself. It's about who can see the leap coming before everyone else, who can adopt it faster, and who can integrate it more completely into their society. So I'll leave you with this to think about. Who are the winners of this new age going to be, and what story will they tell?